Hello and welcome to Green Bull Research. Today we have another exposed investment teaser for you. This one involving Molecule 520, promising up to 70,000% gains. Let's take a look. Here's the sales page for the Molecule 520 investment opportunity, and it claims that this Molecule 520 is the most important discovery in half a century, and that the last time a breakthrough like this existed, investors made up to 70,000% gains. That's a lot. So it got our interest, and we're going to take a closer look at this to see what the opportunity is and whether it's realistic or not. It starts off by telling us about this gentleman, George, who was an alcoholic. This is not actually George. This is a stock photo. We can find this photo elsewhere on the internet, and in fact almost everywhere on the internet. But George was an alcoholic, and he took this miraculous treatment that cured him after just 2 sessions. And similar results can be achieved with depression, opioid addiction, and diabetes. And it's attracted the attention of some celebrity investors who are interested in this Molecule 520 treatment, which really does seem miraculous if in one treatment it can cure alcoholism and other chronic diseases as well, like depression, diabetes, PTSD, opioid addiction, anorexia, and Alzheimer's. And there's another case study here, a lady with depression. And again, this is not the lady, but yet another stock photo that we can find not just on the internet, but all over it. But regardless, in this study, the lady took the treatment, and after 1 session, her depression lifted. So those are excellent results. And it was results like this that prompted the FDA to award this treatment breakthrough status. And this demonstrates that the drug or therapy has improvement over available therapies. And it cuts the red tape for fast commercial development so that it can make it to market in a fraction of the time. So with FDA backing, this treatment now is being stampeded on by big pharma, tiny startups, venture capitalists, and anyone who gets on board has the opportunity to make triple and quadruple digit profits, allegedly. And there's a mention here of a little-known company that could be the next unicorn, a startup worth $1 billion. And we're going to reveal what that company is in just a moment. Why haven't we heard about this until now? Like 99% of investors, this is probably the first time you've ever heard of Molecule 520. And Green Bull has discovered that it might be closer to 100% of investors have never heard of Molecule 520. We'll get to that in a moment. But the treatment itself is revolutionary in curing diseases that have long thought been incurable. It's 100% natural, organic, and plant-based, and there's no negative side effects. Now, given Jeff Siegel's track record in promoting the cannabis markets, you might think that he's talking about cannabis, but he makes it clear that he's not talking about cannabis. But the reference to cannabis makes us think that maybe Molecule 520 is named as being like a next-generation cannabis. You know, it's one better than 420 or something like that. And the treatment involves no synthetic drugs with side effects, no invasive surgery, no long, expensive therapies, no restrictions on lifestyle, and no outrageous costs. So it really sounds amazing. It makes disease disappear, leaving the patient whole and healthy. Addicts become non-addicts, depressed people are cured, PTSD no longer suffer. The treatment simply removes the disease. It sounds too good to be true, but this treatment is the real deal. Whether the investment promises are too good to be true, that remains to be seen. So what is Molecule 520, and how does it work? Well, he'll tell us how to find out, but first a bit of corroborating evidence. Jeff Siegel then tells a little bit about his career and his role with green chip stocks, and mentions several other stocks that he's recommended in his career that boomed in value. Here's one for 5 times its value, 8 times value, 7 times value, 30 times value, 11 times value. Had we taken his advice on these stocks, a small 5,000 stake would have turned our investment into $250,000. Twice that amount would have resulted in twice that amount, and twice that amount would have resulted in twice that amount. But in these specific scenarios, he shows that if you had taken 20,000, you'd have made over $1 million, showing he has a record of triple and quadruple digit gains. I didn't see any losers in this list, but maybe he just didn't mention those. And here's a chance to do it again with Molecule 520. And then he goes on to drop a few big names here: Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank, PayPal's Peter Thiel, and Bruce Linton of Canopy Growth, who made over 70,000%, and there's that number again, on cannabis when Canopy went from 10 cents to $70 a share. And now this Molecule 520 could grow to 10 to 20 times bigger than that. So 20 times 70,000% is 1.4 million%. So that's a pretty big claim, and we think it might be a little bit exaggerated. So we'll just keep on looking and see how this all pans out. So he dials it back a little bit here. Rather than 1.4 million%, he's saying that you can at least expect 4-figure gains from this game changer, and goes on to mention some big pharma names like Johnson & Johnson that are active in the space. And he shows a few big pharma success stories. 11,000%, 5,000%, 10,000%. And he tantalizes us with a $500 investment in Medivation that would have turned into $55,000. And teases that Molecule 520 could absolutely match these stellar gains. Here's why legendary investors are going all in. And I find this to be a really irresponsible phrase, all in. I bet there are no legendary investors that are going all in on this. That's a poker term when you put all your money in on a hand. You never put all your eggs in one basket. But phrases like this indicate hype. And it's important to recognize hype so we know when we're being sold to. However, the hype doesn't detract from the fact that Molecule 520's treatment is proving successful on a variety of chronic diseases. And he shows the amount of money being spent on various diseases worldwide, and mentions that this is the next big thing in medicine, and saves the lives of soldiers suffering from PTSD, and the variety of universities that are studying this treatment. What is the Molecule 520? And here's a picture of it, and now we know what it is. And we'll tell you in just a moment, we're getting to it. And he mentions that this is like the holy grail of medicine, which if you're suffering from one of those chronic diseases, might actually seem like it's a miracle. And how it's different is it doesn't attack with poison, it harnesses the power of the mind. And this is another clue for us. And basically he summarizes it by saying that people with depression or addiction have very few brain circuits that are just used over and over again. However, people on the Molecule 520 treatment have all of their neural pathways opened. And this is the same for alcoholism and PTSD and depression. Where Molecule 520 comes in is it creates new connections between brain circuits, and it can rewrite and restructure habits. And once you've undergone the treatment, the snowball effect only gets bigger over time. So again, back to the investment opportunity. And I'll try to skip a bit faster. You can see we're only halfway through this sales letter so far, so we know it's going to be an ask at the end. But a bit more hype on the investment, bigger than cannabis, more hype, some more charts showing us big investment gains, more big percentages, more big promises of rewards. So as a sales letter, hopefully by now you'd be salivating over all these huge gains. But you have to get in now to make big money. Every time you see the word now, this is a sales term that is used to generate urgency, to inspire people to make a purchase without having to think about it a long time. So again, when we see these things, we just know that we're being sold to. But the good news is he has these reports that he wants to give us for free today. We'll just find out how free that is. We'll find out in just a moment. He's got these reports. The first one will tell us about the magic molecule. And then he's got another report that tells us more stock picks that should have quadruple digit gains. And then he goes on to tell us a few more clues about these companies. So we know that this one, pre-IPO, raised $24 million with over 14 million shares traded, with a focus on opioid addiction. And we can keep scrolling down and we can learn a bit more about his other picks with 1,000+% gains, mentioning that one of them, the stock performance has blown past the S&P 500 by 800%, but yet still remains dirt cheap. And some clues on the third pick is a pick and shovel play, an agricultural technology firm, cuts labor costs, and could soon be the technology of choice for Molecule 520 producers. Okay, so for a limited time, okay, another sales line here, we get instant free access, again, we're going to find out how free, to both reports. Here it is, when you become a member of the invitation-only research service, Green Chip Stocks. So we'll find out how much those are going to cost for free in just a moment. When you sign up to his service, he'll provide even more opportunities. And again, some more very promising charts to help keep us salivated. Again, more promises of over 600%, over 170%, and insider events for members only. And no mention that these are free. And member privileges, including weekly newsletters, access to the website, constant support, and invitations to private trips. And here we finally see the price. A normal price of $200 at 50% off, we pay just $99 for a full year. And finally, at the bottom of the sales letter here, we've got the subscribe now button. So we can click on here and find the offer. And it's a much shorter sales letter, but still another sales letter to read through, telling us the advantages of his membership. $99 for a year or $179 for 2 years. Okay, so that's the opportunity and the ask. Let's just take a look at how realistic these 70,000% gains actually are. It sounds amazing. What is this Molecule 520, and what are these companies that he's teasing investments in? Well, in just another moment, we're going to be exposing all these stocks for free. So let's get to it. The teaser is written by Jeff Siegel. He's an editor at Angel Publishing, where he runs the newsletter service called Green Chip Stocks. He doesn't have an amazing Wall Street resume, but he does seem to be an experienced investment publisher. We read about the alcoholic George and how he was miraculously cured, and other case studies where the Molecule 520 treatment showed incredible promise. We also know the FDA just greenlighted the trials to fast-track the drug to market. Siegel tells us that biotech and big pharma are buying up shares of the companies, and that Peter Thiel and Kevin O'Leary are investing heavily. He even quotes an O'Leary tweet that says, "This could save lives, cure depression, help alcoholism, and get people off opioids. Why wouldn't I want to be invested?" The treatment sounds incredible, and an amazing opportunity to invest in a great cause and make a fortune while you're at it. However, you do have to take investment teasers like this with a grain of salt. We've seen big promises from Jeff Siegel before with an anti-aging stock, and we know not to buy into the hype. It ends in a sales pitch. And the sales pitch in this case is his free reports that he's giving out for free when you subscribe to his $99 a year newsletter. So it's not exactly for free. But we're going to reveal these stock tips for free, and at Green Bull Research, free means $0. Okay, so what is Molecule 520? The teaser included an image of the molecule, so we know exactly what Molecule 520 is. And the reason why we've never heard of the name Molecule 520 is that apparently it's a name that he just made up. Molecule 520 is definitely psilocybin, the psychoactive ingredient in magic mushrooms. It's been used in psychedelic psychotherapy since the 1960s, but drug laws drove research to almost extinction until recently when it started to gain attention again. Perhaps the social acceptance of cannabis has opened the door to other psychedelic drugs. Psilocybin leads to euphoria, visual and mental hallucinations, changes in perception, and that's a key phrase, a distorted sense of time, and spiritual experiences. What this does is it helps people to break out of thinking patterns by helping the brain use unused or underused brain circuits. And again, this is changes in perception. Psilocybin resets the default mode of your brain and puts you into a daydream or mind-wandering state. Some people have developed very negative and unhealthy default modes in their mind, and psilocybin helps to reset that. Depression, alcoholism, PTSD, tobacco addiction, OCD, and a long list of other diseases can potentially be treated in this way. There's a lot of information on the internet, but we have posted a video on our Green Bull website that you can take a look at here. And it's not just psilocybin that's such a promising treatment. There are other psychedelic substances as well. In the investment teaser sales page, Mr. Siegel teases 3 companies, but he'll only tell us the names of them for free if we pay him $99. At Green Bull Research, we think we know the names of these companies, and we're about to tell you. So here we go. Company number 1. The clues that he gave us were that it's developing Molecule 520 medicines. It raised $24 million in pre-IPO funding. It traded over 14 million shares on its first day, and stock price went up 27%. And that they're involved with opioid addiction, and that Kevin O'Leary is investing in it. With all these clues, we were able to determine that the company being discussed here is MindMed, who is in fact backed by Kevin O'Leary from ABC's Shark Tank, did receive $24 million in funding ahead of IPO, and did trade over 14 million shares on its first day. And they are focused on treating opioid addiction. So this seems to be the pick that he's teasing. That said, the drug that they are developing is not psilocybin. It is actually known as 18MC, which is based on ibogaine, not psilocybin. They are both naturally occurring psychedelics, but it is a slight inaccuracy. Okay, so for company number 2, what we know about the second company is that it's already launched a complete production, packaging, sales, and distribution program for approximately 300 applications of Molecule 520. Stock performance has blown past the S&P 500 by almost 800%. It has essential infrastructure in place, including established retail operations. And with that information, it seems as though he would be indicating this is Capta Verde, which is mainly focused on cannabis cultivation, but has acquired a pharmaceutical-grade psilocybin mushroom growing, packaging, sales, and distribution program in Mexico with over 300 types of narcotics and psychoactive medicines. At the time of our research, the stock price had fluctuated a little bit, but if we look back to July 2020, when the teaser letter was written, it did have a boost in its stock price up to 40 cents from a low of 13. So technically, yes, it would have blown past the S&P 500. For company number 3, we were told that it's a pick and shovel play, an agricultural technology firm that produces the Molecule 520 cheaper, faster, and higher quantities, that cuts labor costs and increases profitability. This is a bit more of a stretch for us to figure out, but it seems as though this could be Mycosystemics. It's an agricultural tech company working on developing large-scale myco-cultivation infrastructure that reduces labor costs and increases profits. They do seem to fit the bill, but they are still a private company, so we're not 100% sure that this is the third company pick. However, he might just be teasing the opportunity to invest in it after if they go public. As an alternate choice, he could also be referring to Better Plant Sciences Inc. And those are the companies that we think that Jeff Siegel is teasing in his Molecule 520 opportunity. But, knowing the identity of these companies, do we think that 70,000% potential gains are possible? Well, it's true, the psychedelic drugs market is very promising. They're based on natural substances, have no negative side effects, and this market is expected to grow. And there are all sorts of estimates out there about how much it's going to grow, and a more conservative one comes from DataBridge Market Research, that estimates about 16% annual growth rate. And that's with psychedelics still being labeled Schedule I drugs, which makes R&D harder to go about. But there's a lot of room between 16% and 70,000%. As far as the companies go, MindMed seems to be the most promising, so it's no surprise that it's Siegel's number 1 pick. However, it is still early stages, and they're years away from being profitable, so we certainly wouldn't recommend going all in, nor should you put any money into it that you can't afford to lose, and it would probably be wise not to rely on his claim that this will make 70,000% gains. So as a quick recap, Jeff Siegel has been teasing this opportunity that he calls Molecule 520, which is actually psilocybin psychedelic therapy. He claims that the last time we saw an investment opportunity like this was with the cannabis market that had isolated gains of up to 70,000%, and he hints that there could be a possibility of it recurring here to an even greater scale. He teases 3 companies to invest in, and the details are all provided in a free report that he gives out for $99. But we've saved you $99 by just exposing these stocks that he teased you for free. And in our opinion, the companies he's referring to are MindMed, Captiva Verde, and Mycosystemics, or perhaps Better Plant Sciences Inc. We hope this expose provides some value to you and helps you out. Please let us know what you think of these picks. Are you going to get in on these opportunities? Do you think 70,000% is really possible? Here at Green Bull Research, we expose investment teasers on a regular basis. If you'd like to stay informed, just go to greenbullresearch.com and scroll to the bottom of the page, and here you can enter your email to receive a newsletter every time we expose another investment teaser. And unlike most of these overhyped teasers, it's really free. Just enter your email address. We hope you found this video useful. Thanks very much for watching.